Hello everybody, I'm Brian Seth Hurst. Welcome to the culinary adventures of a happenstance chef. It's funny, when I started and I said, hello everybody, my dad was in Philadelphia broadcasting for, oh my God, like 50 years. He's still around, he's 94. He started every show with, hello everybody, and he sounded exactly like that, so I'm stealing that. Today, we're going to make pork chops, but I'm not going to, boneless pork chops, but I'm not going to be sauteing them or baking them. I'm going to be using the sous vide. Now, great story behind this. Maybe 12, 15 years ago, can't even remember, my friend Jennifer McLean, who I've known since I was 9 years old, started knowing that I was cooking and that I love to cook, and she had asked me, have you ever heard of sous vide? And I said, actually, I have. Now, sous vide is cooking under pressure, cooking under vacuum and cooking in water. It was developed by the French, and actually I read that the first time it was used in air was on Air France when the chef used it, which is very interesting to me. All it is hot water. So what I've done is, because pork cooks at 140 degrees, that's the temperature I want because it'd be tender and juicy, I set this to 140 degrees, and this is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do some dry rub, and then I'm going to submerge it in here for about an hour and a half. Now, I could leave it in there for up to 4 hours, because once it hits 140 degrees, it won't cook any more than that. Then when I'm ready to take this out, I'm going to sear it at a high heat on both sides using avocado oil. Now, if you're not watching your cholesterol, like you might want to use lard, because lard sears things just beautifully. It's just like sizzle and boom, it's seared. But we're going to use avocado oil today because I'm thinking of your health and my own. The other thing about sous vide is, yes, this is the Sous Vide Supreme, and but you don't have to get this. As a matter of fact, if you go to America's Test Kitchen, they've actually tested a number of sous vide setups. You can actually get a water bath and a separate heater and submerge in that water bath, and it will have the same result. This just happens to be, in my mind, the best because there's no external pumps, there's nothing to clean, there's nothing to worry about. There's a heating element underneath here that heats the whole thing all the way through. Now, has to be under vacuum, right? So this is my Food Saver V3340, which, by the way, from a food saver perspective, is amazing. I actually use this to store food, to marinate, and it's absolutely amazing. I even have the containers where you can put cold cuts and stuff and suck the air out of it, and it lasts longer. But this is the best thing to use for sous vide. So that's what I'm going to do today. So what I'm going to start out with, these are lovely, inch, a little bit more than an inch. So my dry rub, I don't give secrets away very often, but today I will. So I can't give you any measurements of this. This is brown sugar, because I kind of do this to taste and imagination. So this is dried lime, which I just discovered a couple of days ago. So I won't be using lime juice or lemon juice in here. I'm using this. Now the thing about sous vide is, you might do a completely different dry rub. You might coat these with olive oil, but you need less in sous vide, because all the flavors, everything is sealed in. So you don't want to overwhelm the flavor. So that's why I'm just using a little bit of, cayenne pepper. Lately, I find the older I get, the more saucy I like things, the more spicy I like things. This is a staple in my kitchen. McCormick's Grill makes Montreal steak. I use it for everything. It saves me from having to mix anything. And I just highly recommend it. Andrew, what do you have to say to McCormick?
Sponsor us.
What do you have to say to Sous Vide?
Hey, Sous Vide, sponsor us.
And what do you have to say to Food Saver?
Sponsor us.
Thank you, Andrew. I think that's a great idea. Hopefully, I'll be tagging. By the way, all these things will be linked in the channel, so that you can actually go and order them yourself.
Beware, though; those aren't cheap.
No, these are about $4.99. It's nice to have friends that love you so much they'll spend that much on you at Christmas time. And I've been over salting things for years, so just a little bit of salt here. Okay. So now, and as you'll notice if you've been watching the channel, I use my hands a lot. It's just easier to mix. I always make sure my hands are clean. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub a little of this into here. Just a little, because it's going to have plenty of time to seep in. If I were doing these on the grill, or I was doing these on the stovetop, or even if I was baking them, I have an attachment that goes with the food saver that's a marinator. And that marinator is amazing. And so maybe we'll use that in a recipe soon. Instead of having to marinate something in the refrigerator for 24 hours, 8 minutes and you're done. So yeah, that is a gift. Okay, so now I've seasoned these, and hopefully, and by the way, we're going to have a lovely mango sauce, because Andrew brought me this enormous mango, and I thought, well, you know, I can use that. So now that I've got these like seasoned and rubbed, I'm going to put each one. I've actually sealed the end of the bag because it allows you to do that. And now we're going to have a little noise in a minute, because I'm going to put this in here like this. I haven't named this appliance yet, or this. I usually name everything. And I say I have a niece who does the same thing. Naming inanimate objects. They have a spirit. Now, I'm going in, and in the sous vide, you can see I've already heated up the water. There is this rack, and the rack allows me to just submerge multiple items, but I only have 2. And I want to make sure I fill this to the max. I want to make sure that these are completely submerged, which they are. And now all I'm going to do is put the top back on with the insulated rubber thing, because this gets very hot. And then in about an hour, 40 minutes, that will be cooked all the way through, because an hour and 40 minutes, there are guidelines that, you know, for food safety and stuff, there are guidelines that talk about a 1-inch chop. And so for a 1-inch boneless chop, about an hour and 40 minutes should do it. So now it's time to make the mango sauce. So what I'm going to do is saute this garlic until it becomes fragrant. I have this great little garlic cutter here, which I absolutely love. And by the way, do you know how to get the smell of garlic off your fingers? If you have a stainless steel sink, you just rub your hands against the stainless steel. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I decided to use canola oil instead of avocado oil because canola oil has a lower smoke point. Now I'm going to put these green onions in. And now for the mango. This was a wonderfully ripe mango. And now I'm adding a little minced dried onion and a couple pinches of ginger, dried ginger. You can use fresh ginger if you want to cut it and saute it. And a dash of Tabasco here. Okay, maybe a little more than a dash. Now it's time to get the pan back up to high heat. Adding some more canola oil. This has to be as hot as I can get it. This I'm going to put here on the back burner on a very, very, very low flame. Now over here, the sous vide. So you can see here, maybe you can, maybe you can't, still at 140 degrees, I believe. And I'm going to remove these. Okay, so you can see, I mean, that looks, to me that looks lovely. That is done. And some of that juice will be available for the sauteing. I'm going to do about 3 minutes aside. So I want you to know that these are done all the way through. Oh my gosh, I can feel how tender these are. And also, the thing about sous vide is, if you're making, you can make anything in there, vegetables, even infusions for alcohol. The thing about sous vide is all of the vitamins, all the minerals, nothing cooks away. It all stays right there until I saute. So now we're going
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us. Thank you, sous vide. Pointed the oil, so gonna give that about 3 minutes aside. Okay, so I think there's about 3 minutes. Ooh, boy, look at that. Another 3 minutes on this side. take this off. I think one of the greatest things is to organize your kitchen in a way that you can work. This island changed everything because everything is within like 2 steps, as you can see, which is great. How hungry are you, Andrew?
7.
7. So I'm like 5.5. So I'll take the smaller piece, and you can have the thicker piece. It's a harder job behind the camera.
Yeah.
This is barbecued corn. And just my little secret in this, I put it in the microwave with barbecue sauce for about 3 minutes, and then I put it in the oven. I have a countertop oven over there, and I roast it. It's so good. Not a lot on this plate. Didn't have time to do a green vegetable today, but I do like balanced nutrition. And then, just a little of the mango sauce. I'll just put it right there. Poor Andrew. Do you have a word that goes with that?
Wow.
Wow.
Very
Okay.
good.
My turn here.
You get the sweet with the mango, with the savory with the pork chop. It's like, yeah, it's a fruity. It's great. Good job.
That is fantastic. Oh my God, it's got that little after kick
Sweet.
from the Tabasco, and I can taste the cayenne. Wow, great. So, pork chops in the sous vide, 140, hour and a half, maybe hour and 40 minutes. High heat on canola oil, 3 minutes on either side. If you like what I'm cooking, like the channel, subscribe. Every time you hit that bell, and every time I make something new, you'll get to participate with us. If you got a challenge for me, put it in the comments. If you got a comment about what I did, put it in the comments. Tell me what you think.
Delicious.